welcome to another edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you fellas doing?
Doing well, man. As I said to you guys, pre-production, White Sox baseball looking good. We got the Bulls lottery coming up on Sunday, Zoo. I don't know if anyone's a horse racing fan, but that Kentucky Derby was awesome with brothers as jockeys finishing first and second. Pretty cool stuff. Long. If you have a chance to watch the highlights, it's an easy 2-minute clip if you haven't seen it. One of the best comebacks. He was in last. The horse was in last place entering the final turn, and he passed everybody. Unbelievable. 23-1, Zoo. Could have put – I think if you bet the top 4 in a row and you put $1 on it, you would have won $94,000 on a dollar bet. Unbelievable horse racing, man. I mean, it's an impossible bet. You got to pick the exact 4 in a row. No chance, but they can pay out pretty well, man. Kentucky Derby's a good time.
Dang. I didn't even know that was going on, man. I'm just locked into the NBA right now, man.
Oh, that too, of course.
These late night games are grinding, man. Because last night I was like, it was tired. It was like 12:30, and the game started a little early. Like
it did.
They're overlapping the Western Conference playoff games, the Eastern Conference playoff games, so that games won't end up at 12:30, 1 o'clock. But it was a great ending last night, so it was worth staying up late for that game. But well, shout out to the upsets right now and the almost upsets that happened in the first round series, because we got a big one that I don't think a lot of people suspected. A lot of people had them making the finals, so. There has been upsets. There was almost 2 big time upsets, but there was one that happened that even the fans of that team were kind of surprised that they were able to beat the former champion.
Well, dare I say parity is amongst us in the NBA.
Finally.
It's going to be interesting when, I don't know the official date of when the 2 new teams franchises coming with Vegas and Seattle, but they're going to take their lumps for sure in terms of like their first inaugural seasons. But I will say, I think as time goes on, and I think, a lot is to be said about, like, I know they always say the world is catching up, and it's more so like, oh man, like, I don't know, maybe in like the year 2038 or 40 or whatever, like the USA might get beaten the cup. It just, or in the Olympics, I still think the domestic product is great. And we're going to see, like we just mentioned with the lottery, this draft is going to have a lot of dudes. And it's going to be a lot of guys who are plug and play. And whoever is lucky enough to get those, first 10, basically the lottery, if you're in the lottery and you're able to scout, you're going to get a great player. And it's just going to continue to add to a lot of these teams that were at the bottom of the league. So the future is definitely bright in the NBA. And it's been a lot of, to Zoo's point, a lot of upsets. So I figured we just kind of make it, because like I said before, the pod, we're a little bit in between series and things like that. So this is kind of comment on what we saw in the first round and kind of maybe parlay that into the second round. And people, what was interesting to you?
Well, you just brought up just real quick back to kind of the globe versus U.S. Dude, they should do an EU versus like USA tournament, because I think the parity is like, you got like, Czech Republic, right? You got Slovakia, you got France, etc. If they pooled everybody in Europe together, that would be a hell of a matchup. Maybe the Olympics has thought about, but that might be the only way that it changes the tide that quickly from a U.S. domestic to more global. But the game has been fun as it's gotten more global. So, back to the first round, man. I'll say it right now. I was wrong about the Rockets. I'm going to get that off my chest. And I don't know if you guys saw the news
today.
I'm
the biggest Lakers guy on the podcast right now.
And you know what's funny? Did you see what they announced today? They're bringing back both Udoka, and Kevin Durant is also expected to pick up his player option. So there's no change.
I mean, that's smart on Kevin Durant's part. Yeah.
It's smart on Kevin Durant's part, but I think the team also had some sort of say in it. I don't know all the details.
Nobody wants of course, the Cancers want to come back, man. People are looking at the toxic situation.
Yeah, I agree. But
we're seeing we're seeing some leaks to the media about Kevin Durant had a discussion and they didn't really address it. They turned like, let's keep it together as a team.
It's gonna be all off season. It's gonna be all off season. I just hope, and the last thing on it, I just hope that when Fred VanVleet, hopefully he can come back. They need to get a backup point guard, because that was
need
clear,
2 guards.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at what Mike Conley, to your point, Zoo, earlier before we started.
Dude, they got him for free.
They got him for free.
They traded him away. He got flipped. He got waived, and he came back to the team that traded him. Incredible.
And they were the first phone call to him, and he was going to be
they're like, Mike,
we're
going to get you back.
And that was his exact destination where he wanted to be. So
Yeah.
look, I think teams, you got to take that into account, man. The league has changed a lot in the last 10 years when it comes to load management. Injuries have gotten way worse, in my opinion, or at least more frequent on a catastrophic sense, right? Taking you out for an entire season, really across all sports. But the NBA as well, wear and tear just happens, even with a young team like the Rockets. And they just got to start figuring some stuff out. Maybe that's Kevin Durant being like, okay, whatever. I'm sorry, guys, moving on. I doubt he does that. Maybe we won't hear about it. I'm sure we won't. But I'm actually I was actually a little bit more shocked that there was not even a discussion about Udoka, right? I thought that I know he's a good coach, but, we've talked about him kind of being, he was flaunted as one of the best coaches in the league after that Celtics run. But look at the teams that he had, man. And then he left before they won that championship with Missoula. So, I thought there'd be a little bit more. I'm sure we'll hear more in the coming months. But these guys got to reshuffle and come back, because losing to that Lakers team, Zoo, and I said this last week, Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard were not the factors that they were at the end of that series.
No, yeah, that was unsustainable. I give you that. They were
unsustainable. But you know who stepped up? I got to shout out a guy right here, man, Mr. Consistent. Maybe it's the Japanese in him just being great at one thing, but Rui Hachimura, man, was unbelievably consistent for them that entire series and really was the X factor, along with LeBron is LeBron, and he's going to have his
still the king.
But DeAndre Ayton was also huge in that series too, having some big rebounding games and all that. But the series, man, I'll leave the Celtics to someone else. But you know what's got to be the most depressing thing in the world? Being up 3-1 as an 8 seed and blowing that lead. I mean, that game.
Deja vu, man. Deja vu.
Yeah, 2003.
Same team.
Same
situation and the same games.
Yep.
Like the exact same games.
What goes around comes around,
by
man.
both teams. It's crazy.
What goes around comes around, and that game 6 was just brutal because they had that thing in the bag. And to miss 22, 23 shots in a row, and looking at some of the shots that were being taken, I'm sorry, but if you're trading 4 first-rounders for a guy and he's taking shots like that, Desmond Bane, he just kept, they get offensive rebounds and he just jacks it right back up with 20 on the shot clock. And you're like, dude, you guys need to just see the ball go in, get to the line or get a quick bucket. Give it to Wendell Carter. I don't know. Paolo Banchero, he had a god game 7, but no one else was helping him, right? I mean, someone brought back on the timeline. It was really funny. I saw this thing, and it was the Magic had a watch party. What year was Suggs drafted? Was that 21?
Yeah, because he was the COVID guy.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's Magic fans in the arena at where I used to be Amway Center. I don't know what it is called now. Rip Amway Zoo, but. They're all celebrating when they realized that the Raptors passed up on Jalen Suggs and took Scotty Barnes. Well, they're coming back to bite him in the ass. And we talked about this, man. And there were a few commentators throughout the series that were saying, oh, Jalen Suggs is off, but it shows you his value to the team that he's still on the floor because he's such a great defender. It's like, okay, yes, that's true, and that's great. But if you're shooting 1 for 10 multiple games from 3, and you're not understanding that, hey, maybe I should just try and get to the foul line, or maybe take a mid-range, expand your game. You've been in the league for 4+ years now. Come on, Jalen. And not saying it's a wasted draft pick. He's a good player, but he was one of the big reasons that they lost that series and blew that 3-1 lead. The other one, and I think you guys both made this great point, Wagner's injury did affecting him, right? He was banged up the rest of the series. I think he only played 10 minutes in game 7. Guys like Wendell Carter, it's not like Jalen Duran picked it up in the second half of that series. He was still very mid, barely hitting double-digit points. Maybe he was around 9 to 11 rebounds a game, but Wendell Carter kind of fell off after those first few games. It was just Paolo, and that's it. And it's kind of exactly where Cade was at the beginning of the series, where it was just him on an island and no one was helping him. And then he started getting help from, I don't know, man, Tobias Harris over me. Yeah. Tobias Harris is still playing and Jimmy Butler ain't. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's health, maybe it's wear and tear. Obviously, we know Jimmy made those finals runs and that.
Yeah, he's injured. He's doing commercials.
He's injured. He did his time.
He's at the Met Gala.
He's at the Met. Yeah, exactly. He was at the Met Gala. But I got to shout him out, man. He had 30 in game 7. I mean, Tobias Harris put up 30 and probably another 8 rebounds, if I were to guess. He's always good for 7 to 8 boards. His mid-range game is one that you can completely rely on. I think that gave Cade a lot more confidence just in the team overall. Duncan Robinson started hitting some threes here and there. Like I said, Jalen Duren didn't really pick it up, but I guess he's just a big body down there that you have to respect. And Dennis Jenkins had a great game off the bench in Game 7 as well. So, this Pistons team, we got to give them credit, man. They did get the home court, allowing them to have a Game 7 at home. But the defense that they showed in Game 6 and the resiliency throughout Games 5, 6, and 7, I thought was just impressive and showed that they might not be the best number 1 seed overall, but they do deserve to be in this playoffs and be moving on to the semifinals after maybe a bit of a jitters start, for lack of a better term, or, players getting bummed over losing their girlfriends to a guy on the opposing team.
Yep.
So, you get over that. You just tell Jalen Duren, move on, brother, and you're fine. All right. We'll get through this series, and it's exactly what they did. So shout out to the Pistons, and adios, Jamal Mosley, man. I think he was getting fired either.
I knew that. Yeah.
They were in contention in the locker room. The players didn't seem to get along with the coach. Mainly
Paolo wants the ball. He wants the ball more in his hands.
And him didn't get along with. So.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what they do. Maybe a Thibodeau down there. They might use that.
Billy Donovan
could be another good one too.
Florida ties. Yep.
Look, man,
and he almost took the Orlando job back in the day too.
The hard part about going all in, Zoo, is that you don't really have too much that you can change on this team for the next handful of years. So you're kind of stuck with what you got. It's going to come down a little bit like the Knicks. I'd say they're a target version of what the Knicks are. They went all in on their both respective shooting guards. They've kind of not really changed these last 2 years since having those new additions. It's going to come down to the coaching change. And, whether it's Thibodeau, whether it's Billy Donovan, maybe we're only talking ex-Bulls coaches here, but, whoever else they find is going to have a big undertaking, and I had a lot of expectations on his shoulders. So very curious to see what they do, but congratulations to the Pistons. Moving on.
Yeah, I got to highlight one man on the Pistons because this is the guy that took over, Cade Cunningham. When they were down 3-1, this is when you truly see stars perform, because you're in a situation where you're doing everything you can, but he was struggling. He shot 30% the game before, 35% the game before that. So his three-point shot was sub 30%. He had some off games for his standards. So he's in elimination games, right? You down 3-1. You're in every single game is an elimination game. And what does he do? He puts up 45, 32-10, and 32-12. Like, this Cade Cunningham legit put this team on his shoulders while his team was struggling. He was probably tired out there too, because he's D'ing up too. He's playing defense and rebounding, and he's facilitating. And for those three, I think these are like pseudo legacy type games, because losing the first round, I'm like, as the number 1 seed on your resume, dang, that would be hard. That would be a hard pill to swallow. But for him to respond like that and pretty much averaging close to 35, 36 a game in those elimination games, I'm just like, what he did was special. Because as you mentioned, like, shout out to Tobias Harris. He had a nice little Game 7, but
he had a good series, man.
He had a good series. He's a good series. But when Tobias Harris is your second best player, your team was lacking. Like, Duncan Robinson did not shoot the best this year.
No.
Like, Jalen Duren was not to his all-star regular game standards this series. Like, as you mentioned, Tobias Harris was the second best player. I don't even think it was an argument. Like, he was the second best player, especially this series. So Cade Cunningham had a lot on his table, and he was able to get it done like that. So we're seeing, like, this is superstar stuff right here, where you carry your team in the first round, where there's a couple games where it took him to drop 45 in that shootout versus and Mr. Banchero over there, who I still got to shout out Paolo Banchero, because I remember I told you guys, and Paolo Banchero seems like a playoff guy.
Yeah,
like,
he is.
Like, he had some, like, in his jump shot, like, he had some bad games where he missed some threes, but his overall shooting splits, especially from three, especially in the playoffs, I don't know, something about the playoffs, but he just seems to hit a lot more threes than the regular season. Like, he had some big three-point shooting games out there. So Paolo put up 26, 9, and 6. I'm like, those are really, really good numbers, especially in an elimination game. He was doing everything he can for that roster. Now,
just look at this, but don't look at his Game 6 lines, though.
Okay, that
whole team was.
He went 0 for 9. Yeah, he went 0 for 9 from 3.
And 4 for 17 overall.
4 for 20.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, 4 for 20. So he had some 4 for 20s and 4 for 18s, but then he had a little 14 for 25, 17 for 31. So he had some really, really big time performances. But obviously, with Wagner's injury going to Game 7, he was in a hard situation, and obviously they couldn't outkeep against this Detroit team, where they got to go in that second quarter, especially when they dropped a 40 piece in a quarter, and they pretty much maintained that lead the rest of the game. So shout out to Orlando for doing a really good series. Like this went 7, and when they were up 3-1, I thought they'd take care of business when they were up 3-1. Like the injuries the injuries hit Wagner, and Jalen Suggs was kind of a non-factor. Like he
was negative.
He was a negative. I was going to say he was kind of a negative on the court. Like I think Black was a more productive player, especially offensively. So like obviously Paolo didn't really have the best help on his side of things. But as you mentioned, this is a team that went all in, and the guy that they traded from Desmond Bain, kind of a non-factor this series. It was pretty quiet. Like when he was on the court, he didn't really jump off the table for a guy that was traded for 4 first-round picks. Like he had a very, very quiet series. Didn't really make his mark on this game relative to all his younger teammates. And Paolo needed that guy to step up alongside him. But shout out for Detroit for coming back from 3-1, because that's pretty exhausting, even with Durant not having the best series. So I respect them coming back, even though in that situation they shouldn't have been down that much since they're 1 seed. But props to them for getting it done, because I feel like in certain situations, your stars could fold in those situations where you're down 3-1 and you're just looking around and be like, we keep getting beat up by this team, but being able to come back, that resiliency, I think that makes them even more prepared for this upcoming series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where there's a little less.
They're up 10 right now.
A little less mentally tough guys on the other side of the court. That's all I got to say.
And that's smaller and physically less strong. And I'm sure we'll get into that shortly.
Yeah. There's no excuse to me with Franz being hurt, because I kind of feel like it's the reason why, to Zoo's point, you got Desmond Bain. It's not like he's a rookie. It's not like he's never been in the playoff series. Like he should have been able to, at least in the game 6. 7, anything can happen. But in that game 6 where they just kept bricking every shot, you would think that Desmond Bain somehow, some way would have got something going to where they were able to skip the tide and not just basically go into a hole. And that was the story of the series. I mean, Paolo, there's just, to me, no criticism. I know game 6 was bad, but like he made up for it in game 7.
For sure.
I still feel like Anthony Black is more so of he doesn't really know his place yet, because he coming out of, I want to say he was Memphis where he was at. I'm not sure, but he kind of had lead guard capabilities, but it's kind of hard to do that when you got Paolo on the court, and he hasn't really developed like a set shot where he could play with Paolo. Like, I think that's probably their biggest thing. Like, I know Desmond Bain, I just assume he's going to shoot better going into next year, or be more impactful in the playoffs if they get there. But I think Anthony Black, their next level, because I don't think they're going to make any trades. Like, their next level is going to be him at least developing a more respectable shot, to where him and Paolo, because I think if him and Paolo are on the floor together, I think they're more lethal with Franz. But some could make the argument, which I'm not mad at. They can make the argument that Franz is healthy, they win the series, because Franz is a X factor. And when they were winning the games and Franz was healthy, they looked really good. It's the reason why they was up 3-1. So it's kind of, I don't want to make an excuse, because it's not like it's Paolo and a bunch of scrubs. Like how, if you look at Cade's side, it's like, yeah, Tobias is the second best player. So you can't even compare it. But Orlando has dudes that could play. So they just choked away game 6. This is what it was. So
at home,
I guess you can kind of, at home is even worse. It's like, I guess you can maybe, if you're coping, like, young team will learn from it. But I don't know, man. It's starting to get late early, because sometimes what we're learning in this whole NBA process is there is no like whoever wins this year. Let's just say the Spurs win. It's been shown, just go back however many years. Nobody's repeating. There's too much parity in this league. So if you get there and you win, you celebrate as, like, if it was me, I'm celebrating as hard as I can, because I'm not just going and, even with OKC, like, I know they're deep. They're going to have more bites at the apple. Nobody's disputing that. But it's not a guarantee you're going to get there. So, with this, I guess, iteration of the Magic, you got Paolo and Franz in their prime. And I know it was unfortunate that Franz got hurt, but you spend all that capital for Desmond Bain. Next year, you got to understand that this is now. So whoever they get as a coach needs to be in a win now mindset, which I'm pretty sure the GM and whoever the owner is they're very well aware of. I want to pivot to Boston real quick, just because I think I underestimated, and I say me, like I think a lot of people underestimated like Joel Embiid's impact just because nobody knew exactly how he was going to come into the series. Obviously, he took that whatever game, was it 4 or 3, whatever he came back where he was rusty. We get it. But it kind of just proved to me like he was just the best player in the series. And sometimes a lot of people, and it's not about Joel Embiid, but it's just like a lot of people sometimes like, okay, well, like this guy's got this, he averages this, he does that. But this is like, we sometimes forget, and we did, and I was guilty. Like you forget, like Joel Embiid is a dude. Like, and it's very easy for him on both sides when he's healthy. And because he hasn't been healthy, it's just he's an afterthought. But it's like when he's right, it's like, holy cow, like he looked like worlds better than, and I know Tatum's coming off an injury, but like even Jaylen Brown is like, when I saw that post up in game 7, they were jawing. And he just was like, they were like toying around, and then Joel finally got his body into him and like it's just like, that's just like child's play. And Jaylen Brown's not a small dude. So it's like, it's just like, watching that entire series, and I'd put it in the chat, like Tyrese Maxey for me is like, because of just how he's in the playoffs with it now, we all know how great he is in the regular season, but in the playoffs, those last 2 baskets is like, there's just not a lot of guards now that I'm going to want in the playoffs, regardless of how this series goes with the Knicks. Like, I get it, they're still building. But like, he's just a guy where you cannot stay in front of him. No, so the thing is, he has control in the lane. He has shot. He has playmaking ability. Like I think I want, like I said in the chat, I think I want him over Donovan Mitchell. I want him over Donovan Mitchell. I just, and it's not like they're different. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's got the long arms. I get it, but it's like they're both microwave, electric, can hit 4 threes and 6 possessions type of guards. But it's just like Maxey just feels like he's, even with Joel cooking, he's just not who did they go to at the end of the game? It was him.
And he's a better facilitator than Mitchell.
For sure. So looking at that series, like when Joel came back healthy and was fully engaged, Philadelphia looked like they just had better players. And Boston's style, which we've all talked about, and it's not just us, everybody in any type of sports media has freaking beat to death about live by the 3, die by the 3. But the reason why I think it pisses off so many people is because they have 2 of the most athletically gifted wings in NBA history that are like great players, like not just, they're just maybe 20 points every once. No, they're like generationally great players who are healthy. And I mean, Tatum's come off injury, but normally they're healthy, strong, and have the ability. Jaylen Brown's, they always joke about his dribbling, but he can get into the lane and make a basket. They don't do it. And it's contagious to the entire team. And this may seem like hyperbole, but if I'm Brad Stevens, I'm kind of maybe looking in like, all right, Joe, I know you won a championship however many years ago, 2-3 years ago. We either need a tweak to your system or you might be out of a job next year, especially if we're keeping Tatum and Brown, because you can't have those type of guys in their prime just settling for threes. It's malpractice.
Yep.
It's malpractice.
Part of that is a little bit of Tatum, I think, coming off his injury. He's a little less hesitant to drive, and we kind of saw that early in the series even too. But with Mazzulla, I had to say this one because it's funny. I was having this conversation with a friend, and then Bill Simmons said something super similar. I was like, it felt like the Celtics were just playing with them, and they for sure were almost like taking that series as preparation for like rotations and like what would actually work best with, okay, I can't trust Vucevic. I got to trust him.
Yeah, he's
right.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say this. They miss Al Horford. I hate to say it, but he was
Al Horford. Because Al Horford's a good defender.
He was a good defender too, even at his age. So, but it's almost like Mazzulla just they all took it for granted. Even once Embiid came back, which I really don't understand that. But man, you're starting like that starting lineup in Game 7 was just ugly, man. It was like Luka Garza. You got like Shireman in there too, man. Like,
yeah, Luka Garza. Respect,
they're missing
but like,
bench pieces.
Yeah.
They only have Peyton Pritchard, like that you can really trust coming off the bench, and he's just a
Shireman somewhat, but yeah,
he's a better version of Christian Braun. Yeah, but he started Shireman in Game 7 because
and Shireman was throughout the series was good. He was like solid. 7 was whatever, but he was solid. I'm speaking to though. It's not the reason why I think the philosophy needs to change is because outside of that title, they have been choking away multiple series, and it's an issue. Like, you just should not be doing that with the amount of talent they have. And it goes, to me, it speaks to their philosophy and just their live by the 3, die by the 3. And I don't think that it'd be different if their team was set up and they had a certain type of play style where, like, if they had Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, like, okay, they're not really physical guards or physical players that go into the lane. They're more of a finesse shooting. Like, okay, I understand it. But you got 2 physically able 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" wings and you're just settling for threes.
Yep.
And it's like, if they're cool with that, that's fine. But they're not going to be like, I'm not the next couple of years. If they're going to keep Missoula in that plan, I'm not picking Boston. I don't think no. I'm picking the guys. It's like, it's playoff basketball. You got to be physical and you got to make shots in the paint. Threes are fine, but like, they're with Jalen McDaniels, physical guy. Anthony Davis. Wow. Anthony Edwards, physical guy. Rudy Gobert brings the physicality. So I don't know, man. Like, it's just, that was just super disappointing because I wasn't high on Boston, but I just thought they just, to your point, they just let them have that series. So I don't know.
Once it went to Game 6, real quick, I cashed out my future because I was like, Tatum was hurt, and I saw it, and I was like, he's probably not going to play in Game 7. I'm cashing out.
Yeah. And that was the right decision by Boston because it's just like, for what? Like, what is? You wasn't going to the finals this year. You wasn't going to be in a situation where, like, you was going to be, I think, making a finals push, even though it felt like it was because you were the number 2 seed. Also, too, I think part of me has always been the guy to be like, split up Brown and Tatum. After that live stream that Jaylen Brown had,
Jesus,
I think I might have rose it. I might have rose my stakes up to like 45%. He might not.
Not a good look. It is not
very Paul George-esque.
It was like right after.
The next night.
Yeah. It was like right after the series is over. Like,
literally.
The next day, I was like, what the? Yeah. Like, he's tweeting.
And also,
he's talking about that.
Did you say Paul George? I think somebody said Paul George. I want to give him just slight credit. Like, obviously, he wasn't a main focal point. He wasn't a main focal point. But I was talking with somebody in the group chat because I think a lot of his name got sullied because of his time with the LA Clippers, right, with Kawhi, because they just could not get it done. But people, like, if you do your work, like, people forget Paul George's number 2 guy when he was in Indiana was Danny Granger, Roy Hibbert, and he was battling with prime Miami Heat. Like, that was an era. Like, I still remember that era where Paul George was not scared. Like, he was making shots and was, like, in the playoff P, as like people were saying that was coming his nickname. Like, he had moments. So now that he's back with not Minnesota, but like with Philadelphia, and he's like actually making plays as like a 4th and 5th option, like, it was pretty cool to see because like he can play. He just doesn't need to be your focal point. So just giving him a shot of praise.
He's in that Tobias Harris role, and he's kind of getting. He is also getting the Tobias Harris Philadelphia 76ers money because he's in that cap real hard. So they love overpaying their small forwards. But mention he shot 55% from 3. He was straight shooting it lights out, and he was in a more complimentary, like kind of a role player type of role where he just was like a spacer. He played off ball a lot. He wasn't really on ball that much with Maxey dominating and Joel Embiid. They fed him a lot. Shot 49% from the field and 55% from 3. So 17 a game as a complimentary role player. My God, like Paul George.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for from a complimentary swing man right there because he complimented. He provides space for Embiid on those isolations. He provides space for freaking when Maxey goes one-on-one on the high screen and roll. So he creates space for them. So he complimented him perfectly. And he mentioned it. Also, shout out to the rookie edge coach. Edgecombe came in and he came in guns like he didn't look gun shy at all. Like he was a very, very productive player for his first time in the playoffs, and it shows that he's a guy that has great energy. But his 3-point shot's actually a lot better than I thought. And like 15 points for his first season, and as a rookie, as he's like the 5th option on this roster right now. So he's not the primary focus at all. So playing off ball and being still a very, very productive player, where he had a couple of big games where he hit a couple of like 6 threes and 5 threes in the closeout game. So shout out to VJ Edgecombe because they really got a stud in this guy because he's a 2-way guy too. So VJ Edgecombe brings that tenacity, that physicality at the wing position where it complements Maxey perfectly. So like they got on paper a really, really talented team, and with Embiid coming back in and fixing the puzzle, like they needed Embiid to complete the puzzle because Andre Drummond is not the answer at the center position. So like Joel Embiid coming back in time for the Knicks, like that will give him a fighting chance against the Knicks with Embiid playing. But yeah, shout out.
It's just health, yeah.
Shout out for them for coming down. And this is another team that took some blows in the face because they got annihilated. Like game 3, I don't remember that game. It was 128-96.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just think about that. Like, you get annihilated in that, and you're down 3-1 and winning 3 straight, pretty comfortably. Like, I remember most of the games were by close to double-digit points. So they took a punch in the face. They got down and they got back up, and then they knocked out the Boston Celtics because there was a couple of blowout games in those games. So shout out to Philadelphia for withstanding of that punch and coming back and beating this Boston team. Because
then you could see. Mm-hmm. You could see how much it took out of him, though, based on how that game
obviously
last night against the Knicks.
Yeah, they had to go all out. Oh, you had to go all out in a game 7 where, man, your best players were playing 40-plus minutes.
Yep.
While the New York Knicks took care of business of the cute little Atlanta Hawks story down there. So that cute CJ McCollum story.
Need a point guard.
It was a cute story down there where they took care of business. They beat them by 50.
That was a crazy game.
Yeah. So
that was an outrageous
Knicks,
game 6.
Like some of those games where I'm just like, it's like kind of like JV versus the varsity team where it wasn't competitive at all, and they just took care of business and they won within a quarter and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a quarter and a half, they kind of ended the game. They were up by almost 40 points. So I'm like,
crazy.
What the Knicks did was really impressive, and that's why they got a little more energy against the Sixers. So they took care of business in that first game out. So it's gonna be an exciting series seeing these East Coast teams match up against each other.
It's Knicks.
Yeah.
It's all the way, man. I think the Knicks are just locked in for that. But I think there's a series on either end that's easier to predict, quote unquote. I mean, I got OKC over the Lakers. I mean, I think excuse me. I think the Lakers could steal one. It's just Luka's timetable. We have no idea at this point, right?
I think he's out the series.
I think he's out the whole series, which is just
coming back. Unless it goes 7, which it ain't. So
no way. And then
I don't even know if I would bring him back. Yeah.
No, it's kind of like the Tatum thing. If you're in Game 7 against the Thunder, like in Oklahoma City, and that's his first game back, I'm not risking it, man. Like I'm sorry, but and then the Knicks Sixers on the other end. I mean, I think the Sixers could steal a game. I do think, to your point, Zoo, 100% they were gassed coming off that series against Boston, and it showed. Right, they only had 1 day off in between. Luckily, they didn't have to travel super far, but it'll still catch up with you. And Embiid, man, you can say that he's looking good and healthy, but all it takes is like one bad move, and he's right there, back there on the bench. And sure, Tyrese Maxey is a baller, but not against that New York Knicks team that has a lot of depth, a lot of one of the better starting lineups, and a guy in OG Anunoby who, in my opinion, has had his true playoff coming out party in that first series, and
he's been shooting it well.
Shooting it super well. Super happy to see him playing at such a high level. But the series I wanted to focus on the most was the other game that was played last night is the T-Wolves and Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
I said this last week. I was like, the NBA's licking their chops at either Wemby versus Jokic or Wemby versus Gobert. And honestly, the Gobert, big bro, little bro thing with France.
Wow. Had a hell of a game on defense.
It was a hell of a game. I mean, I tuned into the game just before halftime and was able to watch the rest of it. And to your point, Zoo, they pulled Gobert early in the fourth. They kind of went on that huge run, and they brought him back because he was clearly annoying Wembanyama, getting in his head.
Yep.
Maybe they were talking a little French trash down there too, man. You never know what's going on. But people also have to remember that this is Wemby's real first test in his NBA career.
Yeah.
This is his first test, and it's against a team that has been to the Western Conference Finals twice.
Battle tested.
Absolutely tenacious series, especially against the Denver Nuggets and other teams. I thought they played the Thunder relatively well for how hot they were as a team last year, and maybe we'll see a rematch there. But I do think the Spurs will get their sea legs underneath them. They're a young team, man. De'Aaron Fox needs to be the guy that steps up, and he did not show up at all last night. And I think that's going to clearly be the difference makers, whether he's having good games or bad games. He was huge in that Blazers series at the end. I know that they were pretty handed, they were handedly taking that series. But he still played a lot better than people maybe would have expected, especially with the rise of Stephon Castle these last couple months. But I think this all is on De'Aaron Fox's shoulders. I think Wembanyama needs to play way more physical, play in the interior, stop settling for jump shots and three-pointers. Maybe it's their scheme. Maybe it's the plays they do to get him open. But I just think the T-Wolves are more battle-tested. And I'm taking them in 7, man. I'm taking them in 7.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I am.
I'm not mad at that.
And at the same time, I think the Wolves are being smart about the usage of Edwards. I think that's crucial because you don't want to overwork him. You saw him running down the court a little bit slower, especially towards the end of the game 1 last night. They did get lucky leaving Champagny that wide open. A good 3-point
shooter. You got to go look. I can't hate on that look.
I can't hate on that look either. You know, you kind of prefer them to go in and just tie the game at that point. But, you know, it's game 1. You don't want to get too exhausted too quickly. But Anthony Edwards, I thought they managed his usage. He was on the court a decent amount, more minutes than maybe I had expected, but his usage wasn't so high. They really gave the ball at the end to Randall, who proved, man, that, look, bully ball, when done gracefully with a lot of his spin moves and fadeaways, it can be huge, man. And you're not going to get in that offensive foul trouble, right, that you can get with, you know, a good defensive team in the Spurs who'd like to take charges, etc. Randall was able to navigate that pretty well. But they do need Ayo Dosunmu back. If they want to take this series, I think in the long run, they need Ayo back. So,
Absolutely.
But they're being cautious with him because, once again, I think it's a calf strain. If I remember,
yeah,
I think
those are bad.
Lower leg injury. You don't mess around with that. And it's soft tissue, obviously. But if he can be back by game 3 and they're going back to Minnesota at least tied 1-1, obviously they could take game 2 potentially. But I think they're sitting pretty. And we'll take it in 7.
Yeah, like as you mentioned, like the most impressive thing is they did it without Ayo. Ooh,
yeah,
dropped the 40 piece in the playoffs, so he's a very productive player. And their alternate was Bones Highland, one of the dumbest basketball players I've seen. Went 0 for 6, 0 for 4 from 3. Like if he doesn't hit his shots, he kind of really doesn't do anything other than score the basketball. So he was he's like the campaign of this roster. Like put him in that similar type of player. If his 3-point shot's not going in, he doesn't really do much else outside of he's a little quick guy. But shout out for the Timberwolves for getting this done because with all those injuries, we got to think about this. This backcourt is disheveled by injuries. Ant-Man is coming off the bench. You got DiVincenzo out the entire series, and you got Ayo who didn't even play this game, and they still won. They played a guy called Jalen Clark. Like this roster is not even 100%. And as you mentioned, San Antonio, fully healthy. Everybody played. Like there were no restrictions on this roster. The only thing restricting was freaking Rudy Gobert's defense holding down Wembanyama to 0 for 8 from 3 and 5 for 17 from the field. Like I'm saying, like what Rudy Gobert has done. Like I'm one of the biggest Rudy Gobert haters because offensively, I still have to say he's an atrocity. Like I still, I think in the first quarter he had 6 points. I was like, holy cow, Rudy Gobert got 6 points in the first quarter.
He's cooking.
Guess what he finished with? 7 points. He scored 1 point.
It was the free throw at the end.
One free throw. Yeah, he made 1 free throw. So pretty much Rudy Gobert is still a 0 on offense. So that's what the most impressive thing is. The Timberwolves are scoring pretty decent, especially that fourth quarter. They had 35 points in that fourth quarter against the Spurs defense.
Yeah. And
like they were able to get it done with having such a liability, but they have the beauty of putting like a guy in Naz Reid where the coach trusts this guy. And he came in and hit a couple of threes because, man, I'm telling you, Naz Reid is just one of those role players. He just comes in, does his job, and hits big-time shots, and he's a two-way guy. So Naz Reid is your de facto six-man guy where you can plug him in when Rudy Gobert offensively gives you nothing. So, and he's also a very good defender out there too. So shout out to this roster that
Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, Terrence Shannon, which was a later first-round draft pick where he kind of fell in the draft due to other situation, but he coming in and he's showing out right now with Ayo Dosunmu injured right now. So Terrence Shannon came in, and Mike Conley, the vet Mike Conley. I gotta emphasize how important this guy is because he was kind of a non-factor in the first round series where he didn't really play. He had games where he played 1 minute and 4 minutes, and until like the injuries started piling up with AKA DiVincenzo, Mike Conley had to play 20 minutes a game, and he just comes in and just gives you good vet presence, that point guard presence, gets you 4 assists, gets you 6 assists last game, hit a couple of big threes, hit the one that kind of iced the game for them. So what Mike Conley doing a starting role where he was kind of supposed to be just this vet coaching guy on the sidelines. Like he's so up there in age, like he's 38. Like Mike Conley's one of the oldest players in basketball right now, and he just come into a playoff game and led this offense against the San Antonio Spurs. So shout out to the vet Mike Conley for getting it done for his team. But this roster's just a bunch of guys. Like, you look at this roster, it's nothing special right now with Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, who's also a big-time defensive player, and Julius Randle, where he was 8 for 20. But as you mentioned, his physicality, got 10 rebounds. Mm-hmm. That isolation top of the key when he had that bucket, I was like, okay, I see you, Julius.
Barbecue chicken.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this roster is outperforming their talent by significantly. And this
Chris
is the
Finch,
third time.
heck of a coach.
Yeah, the Finch, hell of a coach. Because this is the third year they keep surprising me. Every single year, I kind of doubt the Timberwolves. I'm like, oh, I don't know. They're playing against the Sun with KD, but then just whoop them. Whoop their ass. Yeah. the Lakers, all
smoked them. Yeah, smoked them. They smoke them all, yeah.
And they beat the MVP and Jokic, beat them in a game 7. I'm like, all this team does in the playoffs is win. Like, the winning is insane, and their road. They're not playing chop liver. They're playing like A-list superstars, future Hall of Famers, and this ragtag group of dudes just keep getting it done. And as you mentioned, it's the physicality. That's the identity they have. And Ant-Man, obviously, he came back early from this game. He's like, he had a knee injury where they thought he was going to be out for a couple weeks, but he's just like, my team needs me. I'm like, let's put me in, coach, even if I'm limited minutes. But he comes in and scores 18 points off the bench. So he's helping his team as much as he can right now. So that first game, very, very impressed by what they did to the San Antonio Spurs.
On the road, man. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, like as much as I love Wemby, he's still a very finesse guy. Like, he's a finesse guy where you could take advantage of him when you put these stronger, stockier, like, you got to put these small, strong dudes on him. You cannot put these
compared
tall,
to him.
like you don't want to put these tall dudes, skinny dudes on him. You want these strong, stocky guys like Julius Randle. Like, he did a good job. So I'm telling you, what the Timberwolves did is outperform expectations every single year in the playoffs.
Scheme and coaching, man. They're huge.
Yeah, it's very impressive what they pulled off, because San Antonio on paper, they're talent-wise very, very talented. A lot of high-end draft prospects, high-end players, but they are young. So this is their first taste of, I would say, a real playoff game, because that Portland
playoff basketball.
Yeah, Portland Trailblazers, they were just completely outclassed, like, talent-wise.
Of course.
So you play against a team where they got that experience. They've taken down your favorite Hall of Famers. They've taken them all down, from KD to Brown to Jokic. Like, they've done it all. So let's see if they take down another future guy in Wembanyama. But this might be the year for Timberwolves again, because that first game, very, very impressive. Very, very impressive.
And Ant, I think, still will come off the bench. I don't think he'll be in a situation where, like, he'll be playing excessive minutes, maybe till maybe 3. I don't know. But I kind of am more in the camp of the coach is just super elite, and he's not one of those ones that, when you talk about who's a top 5 NBA coach, you don't bring him up. Mm-hmm. But obviously it's coaching, because especially when you're talking about the guard play, he just is making it work. And I do appreciate how hard the team plays. I do think part of that is Jalen McDaniels' demeanor and his mindset. I think that helps the team as well, because he kind of just is he's not kind of a no-nonsense, just like, yeah, I'm a wing guy. I can shoot. I can kind of make my own shot off the dribble every once in a while. But, like, I don't fear any of these dudes that I go against. And I think the team just kind of adopts that, especially like Ant-Man and all of them. So I think that's just super important for team morale, team camaraderie. And, yeah, I don't think they're intimidated by the Spurs at all. I know Wemby's kind of in this whole space of, like, hey, I'm the next coming of whoever. But just because I think Wemby is such an alien in terms of just, like, we've never seen a player like him, we just kind of want him to skip the line. But this league has proven it's like nobody skips the line.
Nope.
Nobody does. Everybody has to make time. Now, it's still early, and
of course,
they pull off 4 in a row, and then it's like, okay, now he's skipping the line. But most guys have to wait their turn, and usually how it sets up is just like, whoever that team is going to be in the conference semis or even in the conference finals. Like, it kind of reminds me of when OKC, I feel like, was the only team, the first iteration of them, when they skipped the line and they got to the finals and all those guys were, like, super, super young. I feel like that was the last team that kind of felt like they skipped the line early and then they got beat. So it's like, it kind of just was like they got the experience, but they didn't really get to, like, experience skipping a line and then winning super, super early. Because who knows what happens if they like actually won that series? Like, who knows what OKC would be like if that was a thing. But I got to thinking because we were talking about, or when I was talking about Jaylen Brown, we just thought the whole live stream was, which it really kind of hurts me because Jaylen Brown is probably like outside of LeBron, he's like my second favorite player to watch. Just I like his game and a lot of his off the court stuff. So it's like it kind of was just like, and he's a Cal guy. Like he just got he gets it. So it's like it's not. I think he was just emotional and he was just pissed off. And it's like it's like okay, you get a mulligan, but it's like don't do that again. But I started thinking to myself like, who do you think gets traded first, him or Jamal Murray?
Jamal Murray.
Really?
I just
see. I'm 50-50. I really don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, man, Jamal.
He was not.
You can't trade a Finals MVP, man. I mean, he was crucial in your Finals win. I get it. Sure, maybe it's an emotional decision there, but Jamal Murray, man, he's the reason they lost that series against the Timberwolves.
He was.
That was a horrible Game 6. You're losing to Bones Highland and Terrence Shannon and Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle. I mean, Jokic did his job. I get it. You can put it on Aaron Gordon being hurt. You can put it on Christian Braun being completely overpaid, which we all agree on that.
Yeah.
But Jamal Murray, this is your first. People are always hating. They're like, "Oh, he's never made an All-Star team, but he shows up in the playoffs."
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, maybe
he showed up in the regular season and disappeared in the playoffs this year. He put a reverse this year.
Yeah, the reverse. Really weird. Maybe year. Just continue being a scrub in the regular season, and maybe you'll keep your playoff juju. But I don't know. But Jaylen Brown, I think, if you're talking about a situation where a trade should happen, the Celtics could better trade one of their two star wings and maybe upgrade like the point guard position or a combo guard that better complements Tatum.
Yeah.
But if you trade Murray, I mean, you're setting back the Nuggets forever. I mean, if you're just talking, I'm saying like if
what are you truly getting though? Like
exactly.
I think the return is
you'd get more for Jaylen
Brown.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown will get you more in return because he's a two-way wing guy and that kind of fits everywhere. While Jamal,
he's more proven.
Murray don't feel like he's going to age well at all.
Agreed.
Yeah,
100%.
And I don't know what his contract situation is, but
exactly. You're not going to get as good of a thing, but I'd rather have Jamal Murray off my team if I'm trying to contend than Jaylen Brown.
I don't think though. Like I'm 50-50 because I truly don't know. But if I had to pick, it is Brown. I think would be traded first, just because. I don't know what your return. I mean, you're gonna get a return. I don't want to say it like you're only gonna get a second round pick and like a bench guy. Like you're not getting that. You'll get like maybe a pick and like maybe another starter. But I don't know what. I don't like if you trade. I think it would have to be a combination of him and Aaron Gordon to maybe fetch something that's because in
James Harden
too, if you want to talk about, I mean, he goes everywhere, so he could fit
exactly.
But like I'm thinking to myself like. If we're talking windows, like I think the Nuggets window is over. Like I don't think.
Agreed.
I think it's over. So like
this year, I think
Boston's window was like kind of.
They're in the East.
So like
they're in the East, so it's a lot more.
It's their saving grace.
Yeah, they're in the East.
So that's why I kind of feel like it's like 55-45 Boston, and I think Jaylen, and I think he's year 10 or 11. He is in the phase of get me to a team where I'm a dude. Because even though he had the moment in Game 7 to figure this out, like it's not like he hasn't proven that he can be a guy. And I think he's ready to just assume that role. And I think Tatum secretly probably wouldn't be mad at it either. I think they kind of just like, we've ran our course. Like it is what it is.
And the thing is, they got the championship.
They got the championship.
Like he's playing with expectations of like, I don't need to win a ring. I just want to showcase my basketball skills and fulfill my potential as the alpha, right? The 1A option, right?
The Hall of Fame run. That's what he's going for.
Yeah.
He wants the Hall of Fame.
He's like winning a ring. He kind of honestly, based on what you said on the stream, whatever. Like he like dropping 30 a game. He like being pretty much all NBA potentially first team this year. He enjoyed being the alpha on this roster where he had the time of his life when Tatum was having the worst year of his life.
Yeah.
And they look good this year. He looked good.
They looked really good.
Playoffs were weird.
They were 61% game. Their team in the Eastern Conference. They were a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. Like, not a significant drop off without Jason Tatum. And I think Jaylen Brown was a little too truthful. Like he was being honest, and he was probably a little emotional because of what happened. But
and he wasn't drunk either. That was like his full. He was
yeah.
clear-minded.
I think he was. I think he was just being completely honest, a little too honest, because based on what he said, he's just like, man, Tatum, man, like I like being the alpha, and I was kind of glad they sat out this year because I got to be the guy, and I got to showcase people that this is why I was paid the super max. Like people are talking about, like, oh, does this guy deserve $300 million?
His contract is insane too.
Like $300 million. People are saying, ooh, but then he put up 30 points a game with 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Like those are super max numbers. So I feel like you really enjoyed that, and the team camaraderie, man, that chemistry. That's not good at what he said, saying the year that they lost in the first round of the playoffs was the best, his favorite year ever.
That's the part where it's
compared to the year where he got every trophy. He got the Eastern Conference Larry Bird trophy. He got the Lombard. He got the championship trophy, and he got the Finals MVP Bill Russell trophy. He got.
I didn't think you were going to say Bill Russell, so I had to make sure you said it there.
Yeah, I got shout out to Celtics, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. He collected every jewelry along with the ring. And he's like, nah, like last year I had the most fun. I'm like, what the heck are you saying, man?
I think there's a difference between fun and rewarding. I think that's two different things. He had fun running a team, and I don't blame him for that. You don't say that, though. He pulled the Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, but straight up at a screen.
It's not good. I'm telling you, man. Sometimes honesty, man. Don't go up to the guy just because he's fat and call him, "Oh, you're a fat ass, man. Get off your lazy ass." Don't be an asshole. You got.
Chris Paul's the only guy that can do that because he's been
and that gets him in trouble. That gets you kicked off the team. That's what happened. Bye, go home. We don't want to hear you anymore. So it's a bad look. It's a really, really bad look if you're a Celtics guy because I'm telling you, if you're Tatum, honestly, how would you feel about your teammates saying that? Honestly, just honestly,
you probably wouldn't. But I also think Tatum is smart enough to know that. I think he kind of already senses that. I mean, it's kind of obvious. I think he sensed like Jalen's kind of felt that way.
Oh yeah,
and I think Tatum's also both of those guys are super competitive. So I think Tatum in his own right is just kind of like, well, yeah, I kind of already feel like you. I already feel that you had these thoughts, and also too like, I don't think it makes him happy that he didn't win, like, because how it's marketed, not just with Boston, but with like the entire league is Tatum is the dude. He's the Duke guy. He's the number one option. Like he should have been Finals MVPs, and Jalen kind of just took it. And I think that's more personality because Tatum kind of feels like just let's all kind of just get along. But like I'm the dominant one, and I think Jalen was kind of like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm just going to go ahead and take the trophy, and I'm going to take this trophy, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So I think there's a lot of. I'm not trying to create this like there's tension, but I think both of them kind of just realized what this. And I also think that I also think they won. So it's kind of like, okay, why not? Like, I don't think it's a bad idea because if they don't, I don't think, especially with that stream, it doesn't help. I think they will get over it, but it doesn't help with just like their window because outside of them, like it's not a lot of guys on that roster that are in a like great standing. So I think Denver and Boston are going to be litmus test of what they do this offseason is going to kind of determine their future. I think Denver is a little bit more bleak, but Boston is not like, there's just these windows in the NBA are closing everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's just not a lot of guys that have massive windows.
In my opinion, they're the opposite of what we were talking about with like the Magic and the Knicks. Like they have the ability to make moves and kind of really shift the team, whereas the Magic and Knicks, we've already talked about, they're locked in pretty much because of draft picks, etc. Yeah. But both these teams, I mean, you're talking about, I think the Nuggets have an easier decision. Obviously, you aren't trading Jokic. He's going to be in Denver probably his whole career.
Unless he requests a trade, but
correct. But man, I'm so sorry that they got to deal with Christian Braun's contract, man. Jesus Christ, man. That's worse than Patrick
be penalized, Williams. Man. I'm telling you, if you're a GM and you overpay one of your guys $120 million, that's on you. You should get cap space restriction.
Nothing requested that they need to do that.
Yeah, there was no need to give him 120. Like that would just.
You could have given him 80 to 90.
The NBA
could have given him 80, could have given him 70, give him 90. 120 was okay. We got to re-up this guy because we think he's a really valuable part of the team, but he's just a role player.
More than Brunson.
You know who's going to be faced with that is Houston when I'm in. It's like, you know what's going to happen? He should be in the probably 30, but he's going to get, I think he's probably going to get the full max. Because that's an NBA, they just do that. They just pay. They don't ever like, there's some GMs that do that. But like most of them, like, I just give him the money, give him the max. He's happy. Like They don't ever be like, you know what, outside of 42 annually, let's go to like 35, 34. They don't do that. They just give them the full max.
Did they already pay Sengun?
I don't know.
Well, then, because then after that, it's like
not the big contract.
What are you going to pay Jabari?
He already got paid.
I think they already paid Jabari. Yeah, they paid Jabari.
Jabari already got his $100 million.
But I mean
the max.
I'm talking about the max.
No.
I mean, but like Amen's the only guy that I think that really deserves it. I mean,
and I'm not saying, yeah, out of that entire cluster of guys, if you got to give somebody max, you give it to Amen. But it's like, even still, it's like you kind of
his upside is
weird
huge.
Games.
That's way better than Christian Braun's. And I'm sorry if you're paying double money
for
Amen Thompson, I still think that's a better contract than Christian Braun.
Yeah, Christian Braun just was, I think, the high of the championship. He was a rookie. Let's just kind of pay him, and let's just kind of keep because I don't think Jokic just strike me as a guy to say we need to keep Christian Braun. So I think that's just like, I don't think Jokic is a guy that strikes me as like to keep anybody. Like,
I don't think he talks to the GM. I really don't think he even talks to the GM.
I think maybe his agent is, but like, I don't. Yeah, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting this offseason too, with just decisions that's gonna come on guys and who's gonna do what. Because I do think that a lot of these teams are gonna have to make tougher decisions than they usually have, because depending on how these playoffs finish and who's in the finals, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this second round is going to be super interesting with a lot of these matchups, especially on the Eastern side. So I'm super excited for that. Make sure you guys are tuning in to Tyson Talks _ Instagram, Tyson Talks _ on TikTok, YouTube, Quantro Knows, Spotify, Apple. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. If not, give us a comment so we get in algorithms. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.